Hello and welcome everyone on this official platform of Legacy IAS Academy. What if I told you that there is a land rich in gold, gas and ancient temples but soaked in blood, silence and forgotten cries? Ji haan. So hidden behind the headlines, as you can see here, Parliament should discuss Balochistan issues as mentioned by Indian Baloch. Ji haan. So hidden behind the headlines and shadowed by the geopolitics lies Balochistan, a region 3 times the size of France. Clear? 3 times the size of France, yet brutally suppressed, barely spoken about and constantly burning under the weight of military boots as well as lost freedom. But now, right from the heart of India, voices are rising. Not from the politicians or pundits, but from the Baloch people themselves. And they are calling on India's parliament as well as Prime Minister Modi to take a historic stand for Baloch people. They are invoking ancient bonds, freedom fighters who buried in forgotten history and even sacred temples like Hing Large Mata Temple to remind the world that Balochistan is not just a political crisis. It is a human story. It is a strategic turning point and perhaps India's next diplomatic dilemma. Ji haan. So that is correct. So stay with me till the end as we uncover not just the facts, but the hidden truths, the global stakes, as well as the surprising role that India could play in changing the fate of million people. So this is not just news, it is the history in making that Indian Baloch urges Parliament to discuss the Balochistan issue. Now, who are Indian Baloch? अब ये Indian Baloch है कौन? Clear? So let's try to understand who are Indian Baloch. So as you can see here on the screen that they are the members of Baloch community who are living in India and they belong to the Baloch Welfare Association. This is Baloch Welfare Association of India. Now what are they asking for? अब इन्होंने किस चीज की डिमांड की है? अब ये चाहते हैं देयर शुड बी डिस्कशन इन पार्लियामेंट, बलूचिस्तान के इशू पर डिस्कस किया जाए पार्लियामेंट में. They want that Indian Parliament to discuss the issue of Balochistan, which is a region in Pakistan where Baloch people are fighting for their freedom. They want support from Prime Minister Narendra Modi, as you can see here. This is mentioned by the Baloch people. They wrote a letter to the Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi and asking him raise the Balochistan issue both in India and globally, support the freedom struggle of the Baloch people and pass a formal resolution in parliament to recognize this struggle. Then एक और बहुत ही इंपॉर्टेंट चीज की डिमांड की है बलूच पीपल ने, open a Balochistan representative office in India. They want permission to open an office like an embassy to manage the political, diplomatic as well as cultural relations with India. Now, अब सवाल ये उठता है, why are they asking this? Clear? तो अब सबसे बड़ा इशू क्या है? अब ये ऐसा क्यों कह रहे हैं? Why are they asking this? What is the issue here? So the first important thing is historical bond with India. जी हाँ, historical bond. Now, Baloch people, they say that they have lived in India for centuries. They supported India's freedom struggle against the British rule also. And they feel a strong connection to India. And with respect to this, there are two famous Indian Baloch who are mentioned. Now, who are those two famous Indian Baloch? Kadu Makarani. Ji haan, two famous Indian Baloch. Kadu Makarani, as you can see here. कदू मकरानी कौन है? A Baloch freedom fighter. जी हाँ, a Baloch freedom fighter fought the British in Gujarat region and he was martyred in 1878. He became a legend even in Indian history. और दूसरे इंपॉर्टेंट इंसान हैं जिनका नाम है नवाब बहादुर खान बलूच. जी हाँ, नवाब बहादुर खान बलूच. He was from UP, Uttar Pradesh, and he worked to build the harmony between Baloch as well as Indians. Then apart from this, there are various issues with respect to the Baloch people, that is human right crisis in Balochistan. जी हाँ, Pakistan's military is accused of enforced disappearance, गायब करवा देती है बलूच लोगों को, extra judicial killings, torture, silencing the dissidents, है ना. International human rights group, they have reported these issues and mostly remain silent. इसीलिए there are more requests from the Baloch Welfare Association in India कि आप हमारे लिए कुछ करिए. Clear? Give asylum to the Baloch people who are fleeing from the persecution. Recognize Baloch Welfare Association as the official voice in India of Indian Baloch. Then अब इनका ये भी कहना है कि बलूच लोगों को इंक्लूड किया जाए, include them in talks with the police, media and civil society on national security matters also. तो ये सारी डिमांड्स हैं बलूच पीपल की जो इंडिया में है. Now what are the message to Indians, है ना, what are the message to Indians? They call themselves as proud brothers and sisters of Indian people. They want to work with government, civil society and international groups. They believe that India's support can change the life of millions of oppressed Baloch people. That is why जो लेटर उन्होंने प्राइम मिनिस्टर मोदी को लिखा, they ended their letter with the slogan Jai Hind, long live India, long live free Balochistan, long live Baloch India brotherhood. And they also wrote a letter to Assam CM, that is हेमंता बिस्वा शर्मा. जी हाँ, इन्होंने हेमंता बिस्वा शर्मा जी को भी लेटर लिखा. And they thanked him for talking about Balochistan as the holy home for हिंगलाज माता टेम्पल. जी हाँ, as you can see here, हेमंता बिस्वा शर्मा ने अपनी स्पीच में कहा कि बलूचिस्तान होली होम है किसका, हिंगलाज माता टेम्पल, जिनके मंदिर को नानी मंदिर भी कहा जाता है. And this temple is one of the 51 Shakti Peeths in Hinduism. समझ में आ रहा है? That is why they dream of a day when Indians can freely visit the temple in Balochistan region. ऐसा बलूच लोगों का कहना है. And they hope this dream will come true with India's support for the Baloch freedom movement. Clear? तो अब सवाल ये उठता है, what can be the implications of these things, है ना? The demands which are made by the Indian Baloch, if acted upon by the Indian government, it could have significant diplomatic, strategic as well as security implications. It can be both positive as well as negative. Now what can be implications? First, there can be diplomatic implications. Now diplomatic implications. So अब diplomatic implication में पहली चीज क्या हो सकती है? How will be the India-Pakistan relations? अब अगर हम इंडिया पाकिस्तान रिलेशंस की बात करें, so tensions would escalate sharply. Clear? See, supporting the Baloch freedom movement would be seen by the Pakistan as a direct attack on its sovereignty by India. And in this way, Pakistan may retaliate by raising the Kashmir more aggressively in international forums. And it could affect back channel diplomacy and also attempt at regional peace. Then global perception क्या होगा? Now try to understand what will be the global perception. Now with respect to global perception, some countries may view India as meddling in another country's internal affairs, and other especially human right focused nations जो होंगे या groups होंगे, they may see India as a moral supporter of oppressed minorities, which enhance India's soft power. Then apart from this, another implication can be strategic as well as security implications. जी हाँ, strategic and security implications. Now what can be the strategic and security implications here? Now what will be the strategic leverage? See, Balochistan has geostrategic importance, especially Gwadar Port region, as you can see here. This is very important, Gwadar Port region, and it is a part of CPEC, China-Pakistan Economic Corridor. So, supporting Balochistan people aspiration, it may give India leverage against China-Pakistan alliance also. It may create the pressure points for Pakistan in its western region, just like Pakistan tries to do in Kashmir. Then there can also be the risk of retaliation. जी हाँ, retaliation का भी risk रहेगा. कैसे? Pakistan may intensify the support to the insurgencies in India, particularly in Kashmir or Northeast India. And terror threats or proxy attacks could also increase. Possible implications हो सकते हैं. Then internal and legal implications can also be there. Now, what can be the internal and legal implication? Asylum and recognition. अब कैसे asylum और recognition की अगर हम बात करें, so try to understand, granting asylum to the Balochistan activist, it could also set a legal as well as political precedent for other stateless or persecuted groups कि जैसे आप बलूच लोगों को सपोर्ट कर रहे हो, हमें भी सपोर्ट करो. It might require India to redefine the aspects of its refugee or asylum policy, which are currently ad hoc. Clear? Another demand क्या है? Opening a Baloch representative office. अब देखो, अगर आप Baloch representative office, it is like you are recognizing Balochistan as a Kasi state, and India has never officially recognized Balochistan as an independent entity, and doing so may change India's traditional non-interventionist foreign policy. Then apart from this, there are other angles like cultural and humanitarian angle. जी हाँ, cultural and humanitarian. Now, what are the cultural and humanitarian angles? See, through the Hinglaj Mata temple, another aspect which comes under the Shakti Peeth of Hinduism. So, highlighting the shared cultural as well as historical ties like Hinglaj Mata temple, it could strengthen the civil society engagement as well as people-to-people bonds. And this could also boost India's image as a protector of persecuted minorities and an ancient civilizational power also. Then, apart from this, there is a risk. अब risk किस चीज का है? Risk of internationalization of subnationalism. जी हाँ, there is high risk of internationalization of subnationalism. Okay. Now, if India supports the Baloch nationalism, it may be accused of hypocrisy regarding Kashmir, Nagaland or other separatist demands within the India, जो अपने लिए autonomy मांग रहे हैं, and it could weaken India's legal position in defending its own unity, okay, and integrity as well as at global forums. तो ये जो बलूच प्रॉब्लम है, दिस बलूच प्रॉब्लम विच इन्वॉल्व्स द डिमांड फॉर ऑटोनॉमी और इंडिपेंडेंस फ्रॉम पाकिस्तान एज वेल एज प्रोटेस्ट अगेंस्ट द ह्यूमन राइट वायलेशन, इट कैन ओनली बी रिजॉल्व थ्रू अ कॉम्बिनेशन ऑफ पॉलिटिकल, कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल, इकोनॉमिक एज वेल एज इंटरनेशनल अप्रोचेस. समझ में आ रहा है? तो सबसे पहली जरूरत क्या है? इंटरनल सॉल्यूशंस विद इन पाकिस्तान. Internal solutions within Pakistan. Now, what are the internal solutions within Pakistan? Genuine political dialogue is needed. Military को involve मत करो, ISI को involve मत करो. Open and unconditional talks between the Pakistani government, civilian government and Baloch representatives, including the exiled leaders also. Then there is a need for confidence building measures like ending the military operation and releasing the political prisoners. Then there is a need for constitutional reforms. Reconsider the federal structures. to allow greater autonomy to the provinces under a new social contract. Implement and strengthen the Article 153, that is Council of Common Interest, and 18th Amendment for the fair resource sharing with the Balochistan people. Then human rights protection. जी हाँ, end to the enforced disappearances, extrajudicial killings खत्म करो, censorship खत्म करो, establishment of independent human rights commissions in Balochistan region with international oversight. Then economic inclusion and development of Balochistan should be there. Now, first of all, ensure Baloch people benefit from their resources, चाहे वो गैस हो, चाहे वो मिनरल्स हो, चाहे वो गौदर पोर्ट से जो भी रेवेन्यू, जो भी चीजें हो, and launch locally led development programs, not military led infrastructure project, because that is not going to help the Baloch people. Okay. Then another important step that they can take is role of regional as well as international actors. Kaise? Now try to understand international pressure and mediation. अब ये कैसे होगा? United Nations as well as international human rights bodies, they must monitor and report violations more actively now. Neutral countries or United Nations could facilitate the dialogue between the Baloch nationalists as well as between Islamabad. Then there is a need for diaspora and peace building. Empower the Baloch diaspora to act as a peace ambassador, not just protest voices. Give them platforms like Baloch Welfare Association, which is in India. It can aid in peaceful advocacy. Then what does India can play its role here? India का role कैसा होना चाहिए? Careful and balanced. India can help indirectly without provoking the conflict. समझ में आ रहा है? India can raise the issue of human rights violation in Balochistan at global forums like UNHRC. India can provide asylum and humanitarian aid to the persecuted Baloch people. India can promote the cultural ties like restoring the heritage links like Hinglaj Mata Temple, and avoid official recognition of Balochistan independence to maintain the global credibility. What will not work here is militarized responses by Pakistan, because that will worsen the alienation. Full independence may not be practical without massive international support, and that would lead to the regional instability. Then external military interference by the other state, including India, it could internationalize the conflict dangerously. So overall जो अभी हमने बलूचिस्तान में अभी जो हमने डिस्कस किया, a peaceful and democratic solution lies in the internal reforms. International pressure for the human rights should be there, economic justice should be there, and then regional goodwill is also needed. So only through inclusive federalism, genuine autonomy and respect for the human dignity, it can it can solve the issue of Baloch people. So try to understand that Balochistan is not just a headline, it is a heartbeat, a cry for justice which is buried under the decades of disappearances. ये चीज सोचिए, silence and broken promises, but the ties now with Indian Baloch who are speaking out, and ancient ties being reignited, and the world is being called to listen. Will India take the moral high ground and raise the flag of justice here? Will the global community wake up before it's too late? Or will Balochistan remain world's forgotten struggle? The answer does not lie only in the government or geopolitics. It lies in awareness. It lies in truth telling and the voices like yours and mine. So if the story moved you, share it, talk about it, and ask the hard questions, because one video, one conversation, one spark, it can light a fire for justice. Jai Hind, long live free Balochistan, and long live the brotherhood of peoples who refuses to stay silent. And do not forget to like, comment and subscribe, because silence is no longer an option. Thank you so much.